I welcome all of you here today to celebrate this momentous occasion with us, and I'd also like to offer a warm welcome to our respected guests and dignitaries. Today we are fortunate to have the blessings and presence of His Holiness Ramai Swami and His Holiness Vepias Swami. I will humbly request that each of our respected guests come up to say a few words. Firstly, I would like to call upon Mr. Kanwaljit Singh Bakshi, Nationalist MP based in Manukau East, to say a few words on this occasion.
Hare Krishna. I think we can do a little bit better. Hare Krishna. That's the way. And it's my real honor and pleasure to join you all on this great occasion when the journey started. And with this journey, the spreading of Hare Krishna all over the world, and we are benefiting from that. I remember about 25 years ago, I visited London, and that was the first time when I encountered the Hare Krishna troop over there in the Piccadilly Street, and they were chanting Hare Krishna over there. And I was so thrilled to see that what's happening. Because I had seen in the Hindi movies, I remember the movie Puram or Paschim, which had the Hare Krishna chanting over there, and saw people were around London, walking around and chanting Hare Krishna. And I thought, when I will see that? And that was the day about 25 years ago, when I saw the troop on the streets of London chanting Hare Krishna. It's my real pleasure and honor to join my parliamentary colleague, Phil Trafford. And can I acknowledge Dame Susan, who is also present on this celebration, and consulate from American Embassy. Rakesh, representing the New Zealand Police. I think Rakesh is one of those police officers to whom I meet quite often than my own colleagues in Parliament, because he is everywhere representing the New Zealand Police. So is Dame Susan. So I think every month, at least 1 or 2 times in a weekend, we meet at some of the occasions where celebrations are happening. And I acknowledge the good work you are doing. I would also like to acknowledge all the police officers present here, representing this area. And Swamiji, welcome to New Zealand, and thanks for your blessings. And once again, I would like to thank the management for inviting me today. I normally visit ISKCON temple during the Janmashtami every year. This year I was overseas, I could not come. But that's the time I really feel that I get charged up when I come over here. See the enthusiasm among the bhaktas over here, celebrating the birth of Krishna, which is the most important thing in our life. And as the philosophy has been taught by Guruji, that it's very important. We have to forget so many things if we really want to have peace. We are human beings. That's the most important message. And color, caste, creed doesn't matter. Once we start chanting Hare Krishna, we all are Krishna Bhakt, and we all are seeking the blessings from Krishna. I hope we will be celebrating many more occasions at this place. And once again, thanks for having me. Hare Krishna.
Before we hear from our next speaker, could I ask everybody to move forward? Okay, so our next speaker is Phil Twyford, the Labour MP for Dignitaries.
Hare Krishna. Distinguished guests, Dame Susan, Emily Armitage, the US Consul General, Police Commissioner Steve Gibson, all friends, congregants, it's really lovely to be here with you today. I'm here on behalf of the leader of the New Zealand Labour Party, Andrew Little, so I bring his briefings on on this special day. I want to just remember that the Labour Party has a special history and a connection with the Hare Krishna movement. And many of you will know that the former Prime Minister, David Longi, was a friend to and lawyer to the Hare Krishna movement. And as I understand it, was a regular visitor to the temple here. And another Labour politician, Judith Titler, who was in her early political career, was a councillor on Auckland Council. There was a moment when some of the, shall we say, less tolerant members of Auckland Council wanted to scoot the Hare Krishna members off Queen Street and get rid of them. And Judith Titler famously stood up to them and made the case that let the Krishnas stay. As a young boy, growing up in Auckland in the early 1970s, I remember standing on Queen Street with my eyes wide open and my mouth dropping open. I'd never seen people celebrating their faith like this before. And years later, as a poor student at Auckland University, I enjoyed many tasty meals, some of them free, and I want to say thank you for that. I want to congratulate the movement and congratulate you all on this auspicious 50th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in the US, and on the extraordinary achievements of the international movement over these 5 decades. Your Acharya, the movement's founder, has made a huge impact, making particularly the Hindu faith and philosophy accessible to a vast international audience, and particularly to a contemporary Western audience. Now, since that day in the early 1970s when I stood on Queen Street with my eyes bulging, our society has changed a great deal. And today, vegetarian and organic food is a completely mainstream and valued part of our way of life in New Zealand. Yoga is one of the fastest growing and celebrated pastimes, and is a very important part of my Saturday morning ritual every week. Hindu and other religious practices are visible and accepted parts of our national life. So I want to congratulate you after all these decades on all that you've achieved and all that you've contributed to our country, giving what I think is a rare and valuable insight into the ancient Vedic culture. So I wish you all the best on behalf of the New Zealand Labour Party on this very auspicious occasion. Hare Krishna.
Next, I would like to call upon Dame Susan DeVoy. She is the Race Relations Commissioner for New Zealand.
Kia ora, Hare Krishna. I wasn't prepared to speak actually, but I'm delighted to be able to do so. I'd just like to say thank you for the whakatau. Wonderful to acknowledge that we're a bicultural country living in a multicultural society. Kia ora. It's just great to be here to acknowledge this auspicious occasion, to acknowledge all the other special guests, and to say what a wonderfully warm and beautiful community you are. You know, as mentioned, we go to lots of events, and everyone is always warmly welcome. But there's something very special about here today, the sense of warmth that it exudes. Many of you won't know, and it's very hard to believe if you look at me now. I'm the Race Relations Commissioner for New Zealand, but 30 years ago I was a world squash champion. I know you find that hard to believe. But in that, I'm still very competitive. So I said to my good friend Rakesh that I am sure that I can get the greatest response to my Hare Krishna. Here today, and thank you very much for having me. Hare Krishna.
Next, I'd like to call upon Inspector Mark Fergus, who is the local area commander for Rodney, including Kumu and Rivendell.
Hare Krishna. Kia ora tātou, and thank you for having us here today. Can I thank you for the wonderful coffee as we came in, again demonstrating what a diverse community that I have the privilege to lead a bunch of men and women whose job it is to keep you safe and keep you feeling safe every day as you go about your business. Thank you to the young ladies for their wonderful dance. I was captivated by the intricate hand movements, and the effort that has obviously gone into the work that you've done for your dance, and thank you so much for that. Thank you to the members of the Temple Council for inviting myself and my wife to be part of your celebration, to celebrate the day that your founder landed and lit a fire that continues to this very day. New Zealand Police, we embrace and value diversity, and today is an opportunity for us to practically to be part of that. We understand that as police we must reflect the community that we police, that by embracing diversity and by embracing differences, that we get a pool of ideas and experience that enable us to tailor our solutions and respond to every person in our community. So, by coming along today, it's our chance to thank you for your contribution, thank you for your efforts, and also to be part of something very special. It reminds me today that spirituality is expressed in many different forms. Today it's expressed in colour, song, light, smell, taste, and I'm privileged to be part of it. It's an expression of belief and a sense of togetherness. Why it particularly strikes me today is that tomorrow I'm attending another form of spiritual expression. Tomorrow I attend the scene blessing at Muriwai Beach, the site of a fatal crash this time a week ago. And it reminds me that it demonstrates that no matter what your belief or what your spirituality is, when people come together, either today as it is to celebrate or tomorrow as it is to grieve and heal, that if we come together and are bound together by a sense of togetherness and perhaps a higher purpose or a sense of a higher being, wonderful things happen. So look, today is a wonderful day. Thank you, and please enjoy your day. Hare Krishna.
Is Inspector Peter Gibson, the District Manager, Operations and Support. This man has been helping us and working very hard behind the scenes of our theatre in the city.
Tēnā koutou, Hare Krishna. It's a privilege for me to be here today, it truly is. And it's a privilege and honour to actually sit up here with these important people. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the ceremony. In fact, my friend Rakesh, my colleague, tells me that within 10 kilometres of any Hare Krishna temple, no one will go hungry. So I'm looking forward to putting him to the test. But I've spent 37 years in the police, and and in fact I joined the police 3 months after the passing of your founder. And in those 37 years, I've served in New Zealand and Samoa, Tonga, Solomon Islands and Afghanistan. And I've experienced more than that anyone should have in violence and disorder and damage and hatred. And I'm thinking that one of the 7 purposes of Hare Krishna is to balance the values, so there's peace and harmony in the world. And that's something which I truly support, because only when we have that balance that there will be peace and harmony. I also like to talk to you and expand what Inspector Mark Fergus said about our diversity. I'm proud to be in New Zealand Police. I'm proud that we support diversity, and I think anyone would struggle to find a policing jurisdiction around the world that has the diversity of New Zealand Police. And it's not only the people that we have that makes up the New Zealand Police with diversity, but also our outlook to the communities that we police, because we are a diverse community. And it is my role, New Zealand Police role, to keep you all safe and allow you to operate and live in harmony in our community. And I'll continue to do that till I leave the police. And it brings me on to your annual Kart Festival, which I do support. And following on from Mr. Twyford saying that back in his day as a student, some years ago no doubt, that there were those who didn't support the Hare Krishnas, and unfortunately that does happen today as well. But I can tell you that I support it. I support the festival and will ensure that the police continue to support the Hare Krishna Kart Festival in Queen Street. And I do that for a number of reasons. I do that because the Hare Krishnas are a part of our community, and we should celebrate all aspects of our community. And that includes even protest groups who will want to use Queen Street to push their. So you're sharing amongst everyone that makes up our community. They all have their values. And I have a personal reason for supporting the Kart Festival as well, because I think it's timely that once a year, when the festival takes place, that every member of our society, every member of our community should stop and reflect on the 4 legs of Dharma. Of mercy, truthfulness, or self-control, and cleanliness of body and soul.
National Strategic Ethnic Advisor for the Maori, Pacific and Ethnic Services.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya. He's also an initiator. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya, Bhutale Srimati Nishad Swami Tinami. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya, Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vinayaka Swami Tinami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunivani Paschachaya Nichitari. Om Jnana Timirandasya Tanantana Salakaya Chakshurunmitangena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Istam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Vinati Swanapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Namo Vichar Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. So Dame Susan, I may not have gotten the loudest, but I got the most sustained. To all the dignitaries that are present, I acknowledge you, and particularly His Holiness Ramai Swami and His Holiness Vyaspriya Swami, as well as Kala Sambara Prabhu, who is the temple president here, all the devotees, as well as all our guests. Enamana, Enareo, Enaro, Rangatirama, Tena Koto Plato. Ete Iwi, Tena Kwe, Ete Ro Rangatira, Tena Koto. Reda Tena Koto, Tena Koto, Tena Tata Koto. Gaudiya Vaishnavism wasn't known in the West until A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada came to the West. And while there were a few Indian spiritualists that made their way over, some very famous ones, to the West, it is a very uncommon sight to have anyone leave India to go to the West. And back in the 60s, it wasn't an easy journey to get to the West because it was very expensive by plane. And one of the best ways to get there, or the easiest ways, apart from air travel, was by a boat. And when Srila Prabhupada decided to make his journey to the West, we know that many Indian people or spiritual leaders in India feared going to the West because they would be seen to be going to a land where the principles weren't being followed, and as such they would become contaminated. So they were very self-interested not to travel and to share any messages. But when Srila Prabhupada went to the West, he took a very uncompromising view. He did not turn up in a suit and tie, but he turned up in his traditional dress, sannyas dress of a Renansi. He was wearing his tilak, he was wearing his kantiwala, and he spoke very openly and very clearly about what his purpose was. And that was that he had come to share the message of the Vedic scriptures and his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as well as to share the Mahamantra and to teach the principles of Krishna consciousness. And in 1972, the deities of Shri Shri Radha Dignitaries was installed by Srila Prabhupada here. And then later on in 1976, he installed the deities of Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, as well as Shri Shri Gaura Nitai. And as my learned colleague, Inspector Peter Gibson, has said, so began the Rath Yatra festivals that has now become commonplace, not only in New Zealand, but all around the world. There's things that we take very much for granted these days with our increase in our Indian population, and particularly a greater understanding of yoga and the scriptures and gurus and spirituality, is that the pioneering steps that Srila Prabhupada took in order to take Vedic culture to the West in a very uncompromising way was quite unique. So, on behalf of Commissioner Mike Bush, I would like to, and although Peter got elevated a few ranks there, but we definitely want to wish you and acknowledge this important day that is Srila Prabhupada's arrival in the West. And as we have stated that the police is one organization that I'm very fortunate to be part of, because I get to work with amazing colleagues like Mark as well as Peter. And they are two of one of many of my colleagues that actually not only allow, but support many different cultural activities and cultural practices, as well as religious practices within our organization. So I know our police staff, as Peter's mentioned, and they've been into many varied and dynamic situations, I'd like to say, but they've always done so with the utmost of respect and the utmost of wanting to make sure that communities feel that they're well supported by the New Zealand Police. We are a diverse organization, so I'm encouraging all of you here today that on the anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in the West, that you maybe take the opportunity to maybe join the New Zealand Police. Look us up on our website, www.newcops.co.nz, and I'll put a plug in because we all know that from your contribution and the contribution that the temple has made, not only to fighting poverty, to education for the children, to making not only Riverhead but New Zealand a much more peaceful country to live in, that the devotees that are here, many of you are all professionals, many of you are participating in many of your own businesses and other activities, that you do make a positive contribution. And long may that continue, and long may we be around to celebrate not only the 50th anniversary, but the 75th as well as the 100th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in the West. I will unashamedly try to get the loudest Hare Krishna out of you so I can beat Dame Susan and then set the bar very high for Emily who's going to follow. So we can, as loud as possible, Hare Norira Tena Koto, Tena Koto, Tena Tata Koto.
Lastly, I would like to call upon Ms. Emily Armitage from the U.S. Consulate.
Good afternoon, everyone, and Hare Krishna. It's really a privilege to be here on behalf of the U.S. Embassy and the U.S. Consulate, and I just wanted to thank you all so much for the invitation to be part of the celebration of the 50th anniversary. It's our first visit to this beautiful temple. From what we can remember, we're just so thrilled to be here. As you can see, the founding of this religion is very closely linked with our history in the U.S. So I'd like to acknowledge all of the dignitaries here today, members of Parliament, of the police force, very nice to see all of you, and the temple for having us as well. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness are mission-focused people, and you're clearly interested in making a difference in your community, and that's a value that we, as the U.S. Consulate, share with you. We're very interested in engaging with communities, reaching out to different groups, and establishing these relationships. Freedom of religion is a core American value and a founding principle of our nation. And this bedrock belief goes back to even before we were a nation. In the 1600s, many pilgrims were fleeing religious persecution and settled in Salem, Massachusetts, which takes its name from the words salam or shalom, meaning peace. I'm proud that though we are far from perfect, the United States has welcomed to its shores so many different faiths to worship so freely. And as you all already know, we embrace the teachings from Srila Prabhupada here in the United States. I've been asked to read an insert from his diary to describe the first day that he arrived in the United States. So it starts out Thursday, the 16th of September, 1965. Today is the 35th day of our journey, and yesterday night at about 10:30 p.m., we have turned one wheel towards northeastern corner from the Bermuda latitude towards Boston Port. In the morning, the atmosphere was fairly clear and the ship was flying very smoothly. The first officer told me that they had never had such experience of the Atlantic Ocean, and he ascribed the good luck to me. I said yes, it is all Lord Krishna's grace, because due to my severe type of seasickness, he has himself taken charge of the ship. In expansion, the Lord is rowing the oars. We shall certainly reach to America port safely. The whole day was clear sunshine, but at 4 p.m., the sky all of a sudden foggy. The sun became dim, covered by foggy weather. The horizon is still visible. Let us see what is still ahead. The ship is stopped completely at about 6 p.m. on account of the dense fog. Be Lord Krishna pleased to get out of this fog. By the grace of Lord Krishna, the fog was cleared after 2 to 3 hours and the ship started. The whole night was non-disturbing, and today, on the 36th day of our journey, we reached safety at Boston Port at 5:30 a.m. Freedom of expression, of the rule of law, of universal human rights, and of the accountability of governments to their people is a fundamental human belief. And both the United States and the International Society for Krishna Consciousness consider these truths to be universal. We both accept that we are imperfect and don't have all the answers, which is why we are committed to engaging with others around the world. And as a wise man once said, there are many societies and associations of pure devotees, and if someone with just a little faith began to associate with such societies, his advancement to pure devotional spirit service is rapid. So I look forward to this being the first of many visits to your community and interactions with your community, and thank you again so much for the invitation. So I've been challenged to a competition here.